follow us at Civic Center TV on Twitter and Civic Center TV 15 on Facebook. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome, friends and neighbors. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us as we cap off another week in Greater West Bloomfield. Heading into this weekend, it is the biggest classic car weekend of the summer in the Metro Detroit area. The Woodward Dream Cruise makes its way through Metro Detroit, but first, it made its way to the city of Keagle Harbor for the 28th consecutive year at Geno's annual Pre-Dream Cruise car show that brings cars together for not only a great day of fun with classics here in Greater West Bloomfield, but a way for our community to connect one last time in these final days of the summer. Reporter Ishan Desai, our Civic Center TV intern, has the story.
I am standing outside of Geno's, which is hosting its 28th annual Pre-Dream Cruise car show. I had the chance to talk to a couple of car enthusiasts as well as Geno himself and see some pretty cool and unique cars.
I've been coming here for about 20 years. I live in the city, work for the city, so this is one of my go-to events every year. Very nice show. I like to see the younger kids, fixing up their cars and see all the old classics come out, with the Dream Cruise going on and this in the town that I live in. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I brought my 2017 Ford GT, which is this blue car right here. It's a 2017. And a friend of mine, Michael Jackson, brought his 2019 Ford GT. So they're like sister cars. Yeah, we get people that come into town for the Dream Cruise. They trailer their cars in from various states. So it's a pretty big event. And it's like as soon as you meet somebody that has a car, you sort of become friends because you have this common language. You talk about their car, they talk about your car, and you just go into all these debates about automobiles. The other thing that happens when you're here in the Detroit area is you're probably aware, you run into people and almost everybody has some kind of a relationship with the car companies. We either worked for the car companies, we're suppliers of the car companies. That's what brought us to Detroit. I'm from Pittsburgh. I came up here to be with cars.
Yeah, it's just an opportunity to get together with people that are like-minded. They all like cars. We all grew up with cars. My generation, we were in the 60s, so these cars are what we drove when we were teenagers. That's what brings us all out. The Dream Cruise just gives you an opportunity to really get it really down and dirty with the hobby. Here you get to see a lot of different cars. If you're building, you get a lot of different ideas on how to build. I see people here once a year. I never see them any other time of the year, so it's always nice to catch up.
Car enthusiast Mike Harden brought what is sure to be one of the longest classic cars in the Metro Detroit area.
Well, yeah, it's a 1960 Cadillac Eldorado. I guess you call it a Barretts, though there's no name tag on it, but it's right around between 19 and 20 feet long. But I looked for 7 years to find this. My dad had a white one when I was young, and I fell in love with the 1960 Cadillac. So I figured, well, my kids are raised, it's my turn, so I would get this car, and that was 25 years ago, and I've been working on it ever since. show that I come to because I know so many fellow car enthusiasts, and over the years I've made many friends here. It's just been a great meeting place. Anybody that has not checked out the show, I would highly recommend it.
Gino Santia, owner of Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant, was thrilled to see that his car show, which has been going on for nearly 3 decades, has become a beloved annual tradition of the Keego Harbor community.
We're having our annual car show, our classic car show. We started 28 years ago. Just as a thought on my mind, I put the sign out front, car cruise night, and everybody started showing up, and it's gotten bigger and bigger every year. It's wonderful that they all come together for this. If I looked around, there's a lot of people that live in town, council members, people of the city. It's like an event in Keego Harbor. Other than the annual Memorial Day Parade, this is probably the second biggest event we have in our community here.
It was amazing to see how this wonderful community was formed and also see these amazing and unique cars. For Civic Center TV, I'm Ishan Desai.
More fun games, events, and tasty deals in the heart of the lakes all summer can be found on Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant's Facebook page at 1999 CAS LKRD. That's 1999 CAS LKRD on Facebook for events at both Gino's and at Santia Hall coming up very soon. With the football season just a couple of weeks away at this point, West Bloomfield Lakers are beginning their first practices. They did so this week, dead set on redemption after an early playoff exit in 2024. I had a chance to talk to head coach Zach Hilbers at last week's OAA Football Media Day to get some additional insight on this year's veteran defense and new look offense.
Well, I think like anything else in life, I guess you kind of build off of the lessons you learned along the way. Not to be too cliche, but I guess like the game always guarantees adversity and the ups and downs, kind of like life does. And we had our fair share of it, like you said. And hopefully we learned what it takes when you end up on top, and I guess what leads you to the results that you don't want at the same time. And our job as coaches and players is to obviously end up on the better side of that more often than not.
Having guys like Jeremiah, Travis, Tank, having them all here today, You kind of mentioned in your speech that they've been through all these ups and downs. They've seen being a step away from the pinnacle and seeing the agony of having a second-round exit against a really good Catholic Central team. How have they taken a step forward leadership-wise heading into another season?
Well, like a lot of kids do their senior year, they kind of realize the finality of things, and I guess, for lack of a better term, like the ultimatum that you're kind of pressed against, like this is your shot to do things the way you want to do it. And they're taking kind of ownership of that, and they've really been good leaders for us in the offseason.
Consistency is always something you're looking for in the season. Last season, you had sort of an issue of you'd pick up one new skill and then you pick up another problem, and that kind of went back and forth. How do you skip over that and change that habit in 2025?
Well, you hope it's something that experience kind of gives you in a way. Those kids that have been through the ups and the downs, they kind of help you navigate that with the rest of the team. Because it's really not talent often that has the best teams. Coach Petrito, I think, mentioned that. It's the kids that can kind of navigate the seas a little bit, and the ebbs and flows that the game of football will give you. And hopefully our experience does that for us.
You had mentioned in the packet that was given to the media, offensively, something you're kind of looking at as possibly a bit of an issue, but something that you're working on is massive loss of talent from last year, is in particular in the skills position. I was crunching the numbers, and about 80% of your receiving yards were between 3 players last season, over 60% of the team's touchdowns. So how do you work to replace that kind of production, especially starting with those guys that were in the mix like Obi Duru and Malcolm Gibson last season?
Well, to be honest, I'm surprised it's only 80% if you do the numbers, because like if I would have gone off the top of my head between Elijah, Cam, and Jaden Alos, I would have guessed it was above 90. But yeah, so I mean, like you mentioned, Obi and Malcolm, they're both really good players, and they were good enough to play a lot last year. They were just behind kids that were really good. So I think, they're pretty hungry, and some of the kids that are coming up from the younger levels, they're pretty talented, and they're ready and eager to kind of show what they can do as well. So you're right, like that's definitely a question mark when you graduate a receiver like Elijah Durham, who set every program record we have. And then Cameron Flowers and Jaden Alos and all the other talent they had out there. It was it was pretty special. But it doesn't mean the guys that, are waiting their turn aren't pretty special too.
The Lakers last season graduating a number of offensive weapons. You mentioned Elijah Durham. He's the all-time leader in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns, single-season yards, and he got that record twice in single-season yards in his first and second, only 2 years on the varsity squad for Elijah Durham. The quarterback situation, something people are going to be thinking about going into 2025. Last year, most of the reps, Bo Jackson, a little bit of Jamal Shakespeare. You mentioned before last season, Jackson Carver was an up-and-comer. Are we going to be seeing kind of a mixed quarterback room, or are you set on the guy yet?
We always have a bunch of guys that take snaps. It's kind of always been our MO. You can go back 10 years. There's always 4 to 5 guys that'll take snaps at quarterback. It'll probably be more of the same of that. But you're right. Like Bo Jackson was the ultimate teammate, perfect competitor. He was a tremendous high school football player and a great kid. But Jamal still played a lot of quarterback as well, and so did Brody Pecor and some other kids. And it'll probably be similar. Like Jackson, we thought last year was really coming along and really impressive, and he broke his collarbone in kind of a freak injury. So I know he's pretty hungry and eager to show what he can do. But so are some of the other kids. So we'll always have, I guess, a mixed bag at that position.
Benefit of having a high power offense and going against other high power offenses, you can score a lot of points. Big benefit for your team looking forward to this season. You got a ton of talent and a ton of ability coming back on the defensive side of the football. Looking at your competition in and outside of the division this season, how big of a plus is that?
Oh, it's huge. Anytime you get experience on one side of the ball, ideally you want both, but you get it on one side of the ball, it just becomes so much easier. Like it's not just teaching; they kind of help spread your message throughout everybody else, and they know what to expect mentally and physically. So, yeah, we're really looking for them to kind of carry us early on and hope everybody else kind of catches up.
What's your message for your team and for Laker Nation as they head into this 2025 season? Always going to be a tough schedule, always going to have its ups and downs. What's it going to take for this Laker team to get back to where everyone's expecting them to be playing late in November?
Just the mental perseverance that it takes. Things aren't always going to go your way. Of our 11 games last year, we were leading at some point in 10 of them, but we only won 5. So kind of just finishing the job and navigating that a little bit better and trying to stay hard mentally.
August 28th, 7 o'clock kickoff at Lakers Stadium. It's a Thursday night game, family fun night, as well as we kick off the 2025 season. More information on Laker football all season long on your home for Lakers sports, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Coach, thanks again.
Thank you.
A lot of excitement behind Laker football already. We are less than 2 weeks away from kickoff. The first game, Thursday, August 28th. It's a home game on Family Fun Night, taking on Dearborn Fordson, another perennial contending team across the state of Michigan. They've had a strong legacy over the past couple of decades, much like West Bloomfield under Ron Bellamy, Tyrese Grice, currently Zach Hilbers as well. So it should be an interesting start and a lot of excitement behind the Lakers and OAA football heading into this season. State champs already set to take on the Lakers broadcast in week 3 in their home game. Rivalry matchup against Rochester Adams. Always a very interesting game. More coverage from OAA Football Media Day, including the full presentation, more interviews with players and other newsmakers across the OAA. And of course, all of your Lakers sports coverage is online on civiccentertv.com and across our social, across our social media. Coming soon, a chance to get to know some of the most important workers maintaining Greater West Bloomfield's beloved environment. West Bloomfield Parks is hosting Bees, Butterflies, and Blooms, the Pollinator Festival at Marshbank Park on Saturday, August 23rd. Here to tell us more from West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation is Katie Scaff, who is their environmental education intern. Katie, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on as we get ready for Pollinator Festival. It's really an opportunity that mixes of, like many of West Bloomfield Parks' events, fun with education all into one. So why the focus? Let's begin. Why the focus on pollinators?
Yes, absolutely. Pollinators are absolutely essential for our food production. They contribute to 1/3 of what we eat every day. So without them, we would have about a 40% decrease in food. So we should definitely bring awareness to them and appreciation.
And part of the goal of the Pollinator Festival with West Bloomfield Parks is to give something that can be enjoyed and something that can be learned from for people of all different ages in our community. Why is that important, that widespread educational effort?
Yeah, absolutely. Education never stops. We should always try to learn more. We're going to have many different activities for all ages. We will have monarch tagging and displays, caterpillar displays, and then lots of things for the kids, like beeswax crafts and face painting, and then Bees and D will be there as well. And they are just very educational about our pollinators.
And take us through that partnership too, because Bees and the D, they focus primarily on, of course, bees, with hives all throughout the city of Detroit, much of the metropolitan area. Of course, you mentioned they partner with West Bloomfield Park. So to have those experts in a very key pollinator demographic with those bees be available to you as a resource and to also provide education to the community, how does that help you bolster, as West Bloomfield Parks collectively, your appreciation and your support for pollinators and educating on pollinators in our community?
Yeah, Bees and the D's is very essential to what we do here. They are a wealth of knowledge. They will come and they do talks with the children on August 23rd at our Pollinator Festival. And then they're also going to take us through the life of a honeybee. So every time I meet them, I learn something new.
And all of this goes back to supporting our native environment here in Greater West Bloomfield. People move to this area for our parks, for our natural landscapes, for the green space that's available in West Bloomfield, Kegel Harbor, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake. And so what role do pollinators play in maintaining that robust environment that we have in our community that is so well appreciated by its residents?
Yes, we can thank pollinators for all of our flowering plants. They contribute to 80% now of all flowering plants. So what they will do is, a pollinator can be anything that transfers pollen. So we often think of bees and butterflies, but other things like moths and birds are also pollinators. They will drink the nectar of the flower, get pollen on their bodies, and then transfer to a new flower and bring the pollen there. So that's how we get our flowering plants. We get our fruits, some of our vegetables that way, and they just make our parks look much nicer.
Katie Scaff is with us, environmental education intern with West Bloomfield Parks. Their Pollinator Festival at Marshbank Park on Saturday, August 23rd. It is free to attend, and more information is on wbparks.org. Katie, your department, you're primarily focused on environmental education. It's right there in your title. And with activities like our plan for the Pollinator Festival, there's games, there's discussions, there's interactivity, all playing a role in that. How does that help to aid the education factor in this? It's one thing to tell people facts about pollinators, why they're important. How do these activities engage people in that and help them learn why that's the case?
Yeah, whenever we can get somebody excited to do an activity that is also a learning opportunity, that's the best way to do it. We're going to have so many different tables that show you exactly what pollinators do. We're going to have the food that the pollinators make there, the honey that the honeybees make. And when you get to see it all up close and actually interact with it, that's the best way to learn.
And all this can be found at Marshbank Park Saturday, August 23rd, the Pollinator Festival with West Bloomfield Parks. You can also follow them across social media for more helpful tips, advice, and facts about our pollinators and more nature facts throughout Greater West Bloomfield. Facebook at WB Parks and Instagram at WB_Parks. Katie Scaff is joining us on the Splash Live as they get ready for the Pollinator Festival coming up in very soon here in late August in West Bloomfield Township. Katie, what are some ways beyond what they learn at the Saturday, August 23rd event that people every day in their gardens, at their homes, across the community can help our pollinators as we transition from summer into fall?
Yeah, absolutely. So having native flowers is essential. Having the native milkweed is really important for our monarchs as well. That is where they lay their eggs and also the only food source for their caterpillars. So yeah, definitely focusing on natives. At the Pollinator Festival, we will also have a native seed giveaway. So that might be a perfect time.
And why is it so important that the native plants be a focal point for this? Obviously, we want to help the pollinators. They help really the majority of the plant life in our community. How much do the native plants play a factor in helping those pollinators in particular, but really altogether keeping our environment pristine in Greater West Bloomfield?
Yeah, absolutely. So apart from the milkweed, which is essential for the monarchs, the native plants have evolved with our native pollinators. So their blooming time, the nutrients they have within them is all tied to exactly what our pollinators need.
And Katie, for those that may be attending this event, we'd expect a lot of them are going to be families, but for individuals, maybe they're retirees, maybe they're adults or couples without kids. Why should people of all different age groups want to come to Pollinator Festival and learn this information, enjoy this fun?
Yeah, there's absolutely something for everybody of all ages. The monarch release and then the caterpillar displays are really fun to look at. The naturalists will be there as well to educate everybody about that. We will have sweep netting, so see what you can catch, and then one of the naturalists will tell you more about it.
Games, activity, and plenty of learning at Pollinator Festival Saturday, August 23rd at Marshbank Park. We're joined by environmental education intern Katie Scaff with West Bloomfield Parks. Katie, before we let you go, anything else we haven't discussed yet that people should know about Pollinator Festival?
I think we hit most of the points. It is completely free, no registration needed, and there's something for everybody. So I hope you can join us on Saturday, the 23rd.
If you want to learn more, wbparks.org is the place to go, or join them out at Marshbank Park on Saturday, August 23rd for Pollinator Festival. Katie, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. WB Parks on Facebook and WB_Parks on Instagram for more information. Follow them for pictures, for activities, for nature facts, and so much more all throughout the year. Keego Harbor, it's time to go dancing. Now, locals will have a chance to learn how to dance from an expert right in their hometown. Denise Caston-Clark is a former Radio City Rockette and the owner of Tap Dance Detroit with a brand new location right here in the heart of the lakes on Summers Road in Keego Harbor. Denise, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. So excited when they reached out. So I'm really excited to talk about Tap Dance Detroit, Keego Harbor.
Yeah, glad to have you on the program to talk about this as you just recently moved in to Keego Harbor in July of this summer. So let's start with that. What made Keego Harbor a destination you wanted to go to for Tap Dance Detroit?
Well, I've always loved this area so much, and I love the people here. And we've had our location in Ferndale since 2019. And we came upon a vacant dance studio right here in Keego Harbor, and I thought it was an absolute perfect location to add to our current Ferndale location. It's geographically a lot more convenient to our clientele who lives, out here West Bloomfield, Farmington Hills, Waterford, and other surrounding areas. So we want to bring our community up here, and we offer daily drop-in. We have a unique studio here. We offer daily drop-in classes for adults and teens of all levels, from absolute beginner to working professional. And we also have a vibrant, wonderful youth program.
And dance is something that for people that enjoy dancing, they love to find new ways to engage in that, to learn different styles and to get out in the community as a social activity, as a physical activity, or even a combination of the both. But from your perspective, teaching dance, particularly tap dance, to people throughout the Metro Detroit area, what's your method in getting everybody involved and not just those passionate dancers?
Yeah, so the saying is, if you can walk, you can tap dance. I'll say, even if you can't walk, you can still tap dance. But it's about tap dance is a very social art form. So when you come to class, you're not just standing, you're not just a silo standing in a class. You're engaging with the people around you, and there's lots of joy in the art form, and it's such a like I said, it's a social art form. It started as a street form. It's a way for people to connect with each other, not only to connect with each other, but at the same time, as you said, we get physical activity, works your brain, works your intellect. It's a way to express yourself. So self-expression, artistry, it really checks all the boxes. And it just, put in one sentence, it makes you happy.
And to teach that to people of all different skill levels, I'd imagine it takes a lot of those skills that you developed as you were learning to dance, and certainly throughout your professional career as a dancer as well, kind of all encompassed in that method to be able to understand where people are at and be able to help them learn the basics and then on top of that develop their skills.
Yeah, and it's all so achievable. And like I said, the Absolute Beginner Series here is my biggest seller. And we start from the very beginning. We just start walking in rhythm, putting one foot in front of the other. And anyone can do it. Anyone can really do it. It's accessible. It's an accessible art form, no matter age, size, dance background. Even, I have adults that come in who have never ever danced before, and a few years later, they're out performing with us. We do a lot of outreach performances, everything from Arts Beats and Eats to assisted living facilities to performing for kids for kids in foster care. We perform. We like to get out in the community. Yeah, clean crews. We like to get out into the community and perform, and it's so rewarding to have adults in our performance group who started from scratch just a few years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. Started from scratch, never tap danced before, and now they're out there performing for people throughout the community.
What do you believe brings people back? They take that beginner and they start taking the beginner's class. They explore dance through tap or through jazz or through both just a little bit. They dabble in it. What about these classes do you think brings people back for that second, third, and fourth class and turns this into a hobby for them?
Yeah, it's an outlet, and it's also, as I said before, it's an outlet, and it's a way to connect with other people, and also for the adults. They work hard all day, and so they want to come and just just come and let go for a class, and it's a different experience than say going to the gym where you go and you have your workout circuit and all that stuff. It's more connected and expressive. So it just checks some more boxes. And we, like I said, over the years, we've built such a cool and fun community, supportive community. And we all, we're all very, those of us, the regulars, we're very connected, and we're very also welcoming to anybody who wants to join our community.
We're joined by Tap Dance Detroit owner Denise Caston Clark with locations in Ferndale and now a new location as of the middle of July in the city of Keego Harbor. It's on Summers Road, which is just off of Orchard Lake Road right before the bend in Keego Harbor. Denise, also there's an opportunity for kids to learn also in this. And we saw some pictures early on of kids really enjoying themselves learning dance. And so for parents that are looking for that activity, that's an energy outlet for kids, a social outlet for kids, why should they consider having their kids try dance?
Well, dance, it's, you covered a lot of it there. We have a really great youth program, but also backed by decades of training dancers of all ages and levels. So I've been educating dancers since 1994, since I was a teenager. So in order to teach kids dance, especially young kids at different formative stages of life, I designed a toddler program, parent taught tap along, I call it, into age 4 to 6, into age 7 to 10. And so I've been working with all ages of dancers for so long. So I've designed a really great curriculum that keeps them engaged. It keeps them moving. It's also great for their, not only for their physical fitness, balance, coordination, strength, flexibility, also their intellect. It gets their minds and bodies connecting, and then that also serves them academically too. So dance is just an all-around, a really great thing to get your kids into. And we run our youth program in 8-week sessions. So So if you have a kid that's 5 years old or 8 years old, they sign up for an 8-week session. And then, if they love it, and they usually do, they keep signing up. They keep signing up for the next session. We have 2 annual shows for kids that want to perform. So if they want to perform, they sign up to do the show. And also, kids getting up in front of an audience, like getting up on stage in a costume in front of an audience, in a group with other kids. It's such a formative building block for them for anything they do outside of the dance studio and then in the future. So it's just a great way. It's a great way to help your kid develop.
You can find more information and class times on tapdancedetroit.org. You can also go to the Kego daily drop-in schedule on their website to find even more classes and information if you need to know that as well. They're also on Facebook at Tap Dance Detroit, and you can follow Denise on Instagram at Denise Kasten. Denise, you've been in the city of Kego Harbor for just over a month about a month at the point that we are doing this interview on our live show. So I want to talk to you about the city of Kego Harbor, your new community here in Southeast Michigan. How are you enjoying the Heart of the Lakes so far?
Yeah, I love it, and like I said, we're just getting started. So we're getting those first students walking in the door. We're going to have an open house next week, next Friday at 5 o'clock. So anybody can come in, ask questions, check out the space, ask me about classes. But I'm also very accessible. So I own the studio, and then but I'm also if you reach out to the studio, you're gonna be reaching out to me personally, and then I'm easy to reach, easy to have a conversation with, just to answer all the questions. But I've loved this area for a long time. I used to come and take ballet classes daily here down the street, and it's just a fun. It's a great area. It's very. You feel like you're just. I don't know, somebody, one of my regulars came here for the first time, and she said, "I feel like I'm up north." So it's that kind of vibe. So I was super excited, about this location and to expand to reach more people, to give more people more chances to come and dance. Because like I said, we really do. We've got a unique niche here in the dance community, in that we have such wide offerings for dancers of truly all ages.
And Denise, beyond that, you also offer drop-in classes too. It's not just necessarily something that people have to sign up for. They have to dedicate a time for, or they have to sign up for multiple classes too. So what factors into allowing those drop-in classes? How does that help get people better connected with this art form?
So the drop-in model is it's great for adults and teens who have busy schedules and varying schedules. So any given level of a class is going to meet more than once a week, and then if an adult with their schedule, like maybe one week they can come on Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday, but the next week is different. They can come on Tuesday and Friday, or vice versa. So they've got that flexibility with the schedule. And then with the way we design the classes, I will keep the same class for 2 weeks. So if you come on a Wednesday, and you get that I teach a certain class, certain exercises and a combination, then you can come back the following Wednesday, and it's going to be the same class. So you can reinforce what you learned. So it's a chance. I do it that way so that people can build consistency and see themselves advancing and progressing. And they really do. Like, the progress is real. Like, from week to week, those who put the time in and they keep coming back, you really do. You see the growth from week to week and from year to year.
More information on tapdancedetroit.org. You can also find them in Kego Harbor on Summers Road. That's just off of Orchard Lake in the city of Kego Harbor.
318. Yeah.
3184 is the address, correct. 3184 Summers, that's just off of Orchard Lake Road in Keego Harbor. Denise Caston-Clark is the founder and the owner of Tap Dance Detroit and the new location in the city of Keego Harbor. Denise, before we let you go, as I mentioned earlier on, you are a former Radio City Rockette. All these people coming into your locations, including now in Keego Harbor, to learn dance from you and from your community. I got to ask, as people are learning to dance, they learn that you're a Rockette. Did they ever try to have you do an impromptu kick line with them?
It sure has happened. Yeah, absolutely. It's just really, truly one of the best jobs, and it was my first job ever as a professional dancer. I was only 19 when I was hired. I got to open the show at the Fox Theater, so huge. Growing up, going to the Fox Theater, and then getting to open the show there when it first came to the Fox was amazing, and it's really formed who I am as a professional and also as an educator, because I would be here. I wouldn't have gotten on that stage at the Fox had it not been for my amazing teachers and mentors. So I'm truly passionate about paying all that forward, passing it down.
And helping a new generation of dancers learn to love dance just as you have right here in our community. Denise, welcome to Keego Harbor, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. TapDanceDetroit.org is their website. You can also find them on Facebook at Tap Dance Detroit, and follow Denise for more on her Instagram page at Denise Caston. The future Connect Community Center at the West Bloomfield Civic Center complex is one of the most highly anticipated set of amenities coming to the Greater West Bloomfield area in the coming months and years. With the bond to support the project voted affirmatively by the community just over a year ago, work is now underway to make a final plan and get construction going by the beginning of 2026. I had a chance to speak to West Bloomfield Parks Executive Director Kelly Heyer for more details. Kelly, thank you for being with us.
You're welcome. Good morning, Tyler.
Yeah, good morning. Glad to have you on the program with us. You gave an update to the Township Board recently about where the project is at for the community. I'm sure they're very excited a year later after voting through the bond to get an update on where we're looking at for the future of that massive Connect Community Center at the Civic Center complex. This is what was proposed at the time of the bond a year ago. A lot has changed since then. Where's the project at as we speak?
Oh, that's a loaded question, Tyler. But to simplify it, we are still in the planning design phase. So with any kind of construction project, those of you listening at home, maybe you're familiar with the residential update, but on the commercial level, there's a lot more behind the scenes that go into it. And so when the image that was just shown, that was our rendering created a couple years ago in order to prepare for the bonds campaign, the public information that we wanted to share to the voters on what it could be. So after hiring and onboarding our architect firm, our engineer, our landscape architect, as well as our geotechnical engineer, our interior designer, low voltage, things are progressing, and we're able to make better informed decisions given the exact site placement of the building. So right now, it's August. We are in the middle of developmental design, and that means we've gone through concept design as well as schematic design. So the floor plans are settling down. We're focusing on the exterior facade, the materials, how do we break up the big building into smaller sections so it doesn't seem so big on this campus. And what we're talking about is a building that is over 46,000 square feet. So if you measure exterior wall, it is just over 48,000. But the first floor is under 28,000 square feet. And the first floor is bigger than the second floor. However, it encompasses the gymnasium, the welcome center, as well as the nature center on the first floor. And the second floor will be more multi-purpose space and where the staff is, as well as access to the track. So when you fit all those amenities in, and given the site that we have to work with on the campus, the building ended up being very long and linear. And so we've broken the building up into 3 different components. And so right now it is figuring out, all right, do we have the front entrance right? Do we have what we need for that faces the parking lot, that faces the woodland wetlands? And so making all those decisions and making it so that It is, we have the ability to talk about it internally as staff and figure out operational and maintenance-wise, what is the best approach to these different sections. So there's a lot of discussions behind the scenes, Tyler, a lot of intentional meetings. We have a lot of different agendas, different of our consultants behind the scenes having those conversations every day. And then professionally, we report to the commission, staff does. And so then we take all of these decisions that staff is recommending to the commission level. Park Commission has conversation, discussion, approve what they need to. And then it's what you're referencing Monday night is Park Commission does report monthly to the Township Board on this project because it's a partnership. We have different authority that the Park Commission is allowed with statute, what we can decide ourselves and what we need to take to Township Board. And budget is definitely one thing. Statutorily, we need to report to the township. So that's a long-winded answer, but to very specifically, we are still settling in the design phase and making decisions that with our professionals that we've hired for this project.
And economically, that's the most sound thing to do because you want to make sure you have a pretty concrete plan come your January 2026 estimate for starting the construction phase of this project, especially where we're at in our economy with tariffs and with the supply chain still very much affecting the overall cost of this project and wanting to stay within budget. But Kelly, some of the concepts that were really critical to the design phase and continue to be in this design phase, respect for nature, biomimicry, community outreach, most importantly, being a good neighbor, those all kind of encompass themselves in some of the key changes to the plan that came into the most recent presentation at the August 11th Township Board meeting. Previously, it was conceptualized to maintain at least a portion, if not the entirety, of the current Recreation Activity Center in the plans for the future Connect Community Center. Now that's different. That building is currently under this plan going to be demolished, mostly to make space for the building to, again, fit that footprint on the Civic Center complex, but also, most importantly, to allow that footprint to be minimally effective on the nature surrounding that building. That was a really critical part and continues to be in your planning phase, correct?
Well said, Tyler. So if you want to show back that rendering or put the rendering back on the screen, on the green side, the west side of the site plan, we are taking down the building, so 3/4 of the building can be put back to nature. What we've noticed is this campus, we need a gathering space. And right now, for example, we have Food Truck Tuesdays that happen in between us and the library, but the food truck has to be parked in the parking lot, and it is not the best design for that. So we're making more intentional gathering space outside our building. And that's to celebrate nature. The trailhead is right there. Our outdoor natural area, play area will be expanded. And it's going to be a better user experience in nature. And we needed to put back more green space on the west side. So that is in the light green there that you can see. And then the other colors that are blacked out, you can see the 3 sections of the building. So the connected to nature makes most sense is the nature center. And on the second floor is staff. And then as you move east, the middle part of the building, that is where you would enter the welcome customer service, multi-purpose space. And then upstairs is senior lounge space, as well as our dedicated gaming room, lecture room, where the furniture can be card tables set up all day. And then the east side of the building, where it is the high school gymnasium, high school size, and that gets you bottom floor where you can do pickleball, our larger group fitness classes, and then the elevated track will be directly above it. And so that is a big space. So if you look on the floor plans, the gymnasium, the track is 1/3 of the building. And so that's where a ton of square footage had to go in that direction. So that's just under 10,000 square feet itself on that right-hand east side of the building.
Yeah, a lot of recreation space still planned in this building. A lot of those original amenities that were proposed, that were discussed pre-bond and were ultimately agreed upon by the township's electorate, still going to be a factor in this. That's what most people on the day-to-day listening today, watching today, or in the future on CivicCenterTV.com want to know about. All these changes, of course, affect the space that these programs will ultimately be in. So what are we looking at right now in terms of where these plans are at, what's sort of been changed, and how those spaces for these amenities are being affected by some of these modifications in the plan at this stage of the process?
Right. So price has to drive much of our discussion. So as you heard in our budget update, both with the Park Commission and Township Board, consideration for tariffs and still putting in a good contingency. We are spending more than we anticipated within the bond dollars, so that warrants a discussion for the other projects we still want to accomplish. So with that said, we still aren't getting exactly everything we want. In fact, the question came up the other night, would you build a bigger building if you could? Absolutely, because we know the residents deserve all the public, multi-generational, recreational and leisure space indoors. But we've had to make some decisions. So we made a couple slices through the building, so it's still going to be very user-friendly. The square footages of the multi-purpose spaces are still great spaces, better than what we have right now. And so if you're at the Recreation Activity Center, that building, the entire building with staff, is 8,400 square feet. So if you keep that into context, with the nature center that we currently have and the 2 multi-purpose rooms, we're doubling in the public space as far as square footage, plus adding the gymnasium. So we're still able to have group fitness, Tyler, the lectures, card gaming, the discovery days in the nature center, all of this. And it's going to be better spaces. So right now, unfortunately, you do look at the parking lots. It's very limited windows that we have both here at the Recreation Activity and the current Connect building that we rent at Simsbury. So we've been able to maintain those square footages. We had to reduce on storage, which goes against our principle in Parks and Recreation, because we just don't like the clutter and equipment and supplies sitting out. So we've made some really smart decisions how we can do that better. And then we've had to, again, minimize a couple square feet on some of the multi-purpose rooms, but we still maintained everything we promised, plus done better on our circulation in the hallways, the corridors. And we've done better on delivering the requested additional seating and lounge space, like the drop-in space that we heard through our stakeholder conversations that everybody did desire. So we're trying to listen to the residents, still incorporate their ideas and what's important to them. Our instructors are critical in this process, getting their buy-in. But all in all, we've been able to maintain all of those things that we've been able to adhere to. The other great thing is that our landscape architects we've hired have come up with some really creative spaces outside that the campus and our residents are going to be able to use. It's going to be really exciting. We're in the middle of our design development phase. So soon, and we were hoping by the end of the summer, we'll start showing some more of those renderings, all the sides of the building, including some interiors. So stay tuned. Civic Center TV, you'll be the first to know to help us roll out our public update on the building. But we've still got to go through the next couple of weeks and crunch down, make sure that we're getting this right. The rendering that you do see that you've used, that we used in the presentation, is from June. So we've made significant modifications to that. And again, it is based on stakeholder feedback. And we want the people using this building and the staff operating it to be really satisfied to be able to deliver the next 30 years on recreation and leisure services.
Yeah, you want to get this right. You're consolidating all of those different facilities that house staff for West Bloomfield Parks, of course, Connect Senior Center, all that recreation space and more to make this a great amenity centralized at the Civic Center complex. Kelly Heyer is with us, the Executive Director of West Bloomfield Parks, with updates on the Connect Community Center project currently underway right now. They're in the planning phase still, hoping in the coming weeks to have more of these plans locked down, start getting into the permit phase as we get into the fall and the goal still by the turn of the year 2026 to begin construction on that project. Kelly, a couple more questions for you. It's really important in this also, and you mentioned it briefly earlier on, keeping in mind that this bond was not only for the Connect Community Center, but also for really important projects, kind of smaller projects in scope, but very, very, very important maintenance projects for going forward at some of our parks, including Marshbank. So how much of a factor does that also play, especially on the financial side, the planning side, to make this great, extensive building, but not take away from the necessity to still do these other projects?
That's a great question. And to answer that, I want to touch back on the budget process for the building. And if those of you listening at home go back and listen to both Park Commission updates for July as well as the Township Board update I just gave in August, you'll hear me reference to 3 phases of the budget. So when it comes to this big community center project, we have budget check-in points after each phase of our design. So the next couple weeks, we'll be receiving the design set from our architects and engineers on the design development phase. And so we'll be working with our cost estimators to check in. Are we still on track with the estimated now at $24.5 million for the budget? And that still includes the contingencies. So then what happens to the other projects? Tyler, to your question, what is our approach there? And with Parks and Recreation, we are project managing all day long, whether it's events, all the enhancements that you've seen the last 55 years with West Bloomfield Parks. So we've, for example, you'll hear me reference when we built Lily Pad Springs. That was a budget that we had saved up for and a project that we knew we were funding internally with prior year funds, as well as the taxpayer dollars that come in. And so that's the same approach that we tackle our capital improvement projects. And we have a 10-year plan that is a rolling plan where we take and look at the park system as a whole, figure out what is our deferred maintenance, what are the enhancements we want to add to, the amenities we add to, what kind of property do we want to acquire, and all of that is into our CIP project discussion. So with the pickleball courts at Drake Sports Park, the Marshbank Park paving project, as well as the playgrounds we've talked to, the Marshbank paving was the first thing on the list, and we did commence that project August 1st. And the great news about that, when we went into this paving project, we knew it was a 3-year phase, and we had estimated $1 million for each phase. Going off of Drake Sports Park, we had just done that park. And we were really lucky on our bidders. The entire project will be $1.9 million. So it is under budget, and only a third of that project will be paid for by bond dollars. So at this time, there's little wiggle room for that, but we will be figuring out Drake Sports Park as well as the playgrounds in our CIP conversation in the next budget year. So for those residents, rest assured, West Bloomfield Parks, we continue to deliver amazing amenities, and we're really proud that our residents do support us. So there is not a big list of deferred maintenance, and we're able to tackle that. So more to come on that specifically, but we know about it early on and able to strategize with the park commissioners to make sure that our residents get the amenities that we have promised them.
And all the powers that be definitely also a factor in this planning process from the Parks and Recreation Commission. They're overseeing this. They're talking about this in their public meetings, including their televised monthly meetings. So, same goes with the West Bloomfield Township Board. If you want to see those presentations, civiccentertv.com in our on-demand section. The July 23rd West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Commission meeting was their most recent presentation there. And then the Township Board, they did a presentation with the latest budget information and design information. That's the August 11th meeting. Again, civiccentertv.com. We're joined by Kelly Heyer, Executive Director of West Bloomfield Parks. That's the update on the Connect Community Center. Kelly, thank you so much for your time today.
Great questions, Tyler. Happy to be on.
More information on the Connect Community Center project, as well as updates on wbparks.org. And you can always follow them on Facebook at WBParks and Instagram at WB_Parks for more information. Close to home in Greater West Bloomfield on Drake Road in West Bloomfield Township, an adventure up in the trees, and now a different adventure a little bit closer to the ground as the adventure park at the Tree Runner Adventure Park on the campus of the JCC in West Bloomfield now features a new exhibit called the Bounce Forest, a massive aerial net playground suspended amongst the trees. No harnesses, it's fully enclosed, great for team building and for some recreational fun with friends and family. Assistant Manager Luke Weller recently joined us on The Splash to tell us more.
How you doing, Luke?
I'm doing so good today. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Doing just well. Happy to have you here. Talk about this new feature that we have. We've seen the pictures. Now I'm excited to talk about it. Let's just talk about the inspiration behind Bounce Forest.
So a little bit of where it came from. So the Bounce Forest, I was so excited that we did it this year. It's been something that we've been talking about for quite a few years now, actually. It's been in the works, and we've always been looking for something that's like a new outdoor attraction that's kind of a little bit similar. Like it stems from our climbing things. That's where we started, was all those aerial forests and the climbing things. And it's like, I always saw it as like, okay, we had a few net obstacles already in the park, and this is that times 100. It's just a giant net. And when you take a net and you make it that large, it just becomes a huge trampoline. So that's kind of like where our inspiration come from. We were like, what can we take something that we have a little bit of, something that people really enjoyed our net elements, and we're just like, how do we make this like a whole thing? It's whole brand new thing. So that's kind of where it started, and it just like grew from there. It became like a whole different, I don't know, it's a whole different experience than I expected it to be, but it's really, really fun.
You know what? One thing I'm starting to see in a few of the establishments are like trampoline parks getting a lot popular. Even Chuck E. Cheese has a bounce thing, but yours is so unique because, like you said, it's outside, it's surrounding a great atmosphere as well, so it's a great time to take advantage, especially during the summertime. Can you talk about, we're talking about a harness-free aerial net playground. Talk about the actual safety considerations that went into creating this as well.
Yeah, and that's so much fun that you asked that, actually, because when we first started talking about it, I was wondering the same thing. I was like, how is this going to work? I thought like the tops of the nets were going to be like open, and I was like, aren't people going to like want to crawl out of there? But it's not like that at all. So the way that it works is that you kind of are in like a cube of nets is the best way I can describe it. So you take a little hallway into our net forest, and we have 3 huge rooms. There's 2 that are giant, like kind of rectangle-ish cubes, and then one more that's like a triangle shape on the end, and it is completely enclosed in. So once you're in there, you're in there. You're in a net world, so you can bounce as much as you like, and you can go wherever you like, and it's like you're contained. You're good. You're not going to go anywhere outside of there. So that's how it can stay harness free and still be like a good place to plan, because you're just kind of boxed in. Nowhere to go outside of the nets.
Yeah, that sounds very safe and ensuring as well. Just wanted to put that out there for anyone who was curious in regards to the safety aspect of this feature as well. Now, one thing I want to ask you specifically about this, is there like an age range, a limit? Like, should people be expecting, is it just for kids? Can adults come? Please explain that.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone can come, as long as they're older than 4 years old, you're willing to, and it includes adults too. So it's not just a kids thing. I think so far we've had a lot of people coming in thinking like, oh, it's just a thing for the kids, actually a thing for them. But it's like, everyone can do it. I know that I've been out there with a bunch of my friends already, and we got a huge kick out of it. We've had adults going with their families. We've had adults going by themselves that just like saw it and they're like, this looks really cool. But anyone 4 and up, they can join along with the fun. And I think a lot of the fun stems from just like the sensation of how it feels too. So far, I've noticed with almost everyone that steps onto it, like they get into that first few bumps and they're like, whoa, this is really fun. And then they start kind of giggling right away. And that sensation right away is just like incredible for almost everyone. It's like a slightly more bouncy trampoline. It's kind of hard to describe in words, but it's been incredible for everyone. And you can like, some people are just having fun bouncing out there. I've seen people make up games. We have like some little, I don't want to call them dodgeballs, because dodgeballs are kind of like foam balls almost. That we have in there. We have a whole room filled with them, so you can like play a couple games with the balls as well. And just whatever you like to do in there, people have been getting a kick out of it for sure.
Yeah. I know, and it's so much different from anything else we've experienced, and I'm so glad we brought that right here in our own community. And with us right here, live on The Splash, Assistant General Manager for Tree Runner Park in West Bloomfield, Luke Weller, talking about the new Bounce Forest and other features that they have featured at the Tree Runner Park right here in our community as well. Now, if I'm reading this right, you have a daytime and an illuminated nighttime session going on. Just talk about the advantages and the features that with both of these different sessions.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess it's kind of an obvious thing to say, but like morning is all bright, so you can kind of see everywhere that you're jumping. And I've seen a lot more people when they're jumping in the morning get into those games. So they're seeing like the little balls that we have in there, and there's playing like I've seen like freeze tag, I've seen races in there. So I think in the morning I've seen a lot more people being active in that aspect in general. But in the afternoon, I've seen a lot more people just like getting a real kick out of what an unusual sensation it is almost. I have done a bit more, like done morning jumps and night jumps. And at night, it's so strange because you can't really like see the ground underneath the net. So it kind of just feels like you're jumping in void. It's just lit up enough so you can see where you're jumping. You can see where you're supposed to land. But beyond that, it's really strange, but it's really, really cool. So if you're looking for something that's just like almost like, I don't know, just a little more wacky, something that you've never experienced before, I definitely recommend the night experience. And once we get into our fall season, our Halloween stuff, we're hoping to do a little bit more like Halloween decorations out there too, make it a little spooky. So that'll be really fun as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing like how we can play into that, like, ooh, this is like a really unusual thing. Where are you jumping?
Yep. That sounds crazy, but it sounds fun too as well. If you're expecting, if you want that good nighttime outside feel, and then a little bit of that October Halloween, that'll be the perfect setting for it. I agree with that, Luke. Now, I know you all do different like group experiences as well. For anyone who has like a group at work or just maybe even a club, just talk about the group experiences at Tree Runner Park and some of the feedback you may have gotten.
Yeah, for sure. So we've always done like big groups, large groups. We encourage it because it's like, I think it's a really good moment to like get to know other people and use like teamwork together, encourage each other wherever you're at. And I think that the Bounce Forest is a really nice addition to that because it's an attraction that like you can have a lot of people doing it at once. We can have 8 people per room. We have like 3 rooms out there, 5 in one of the smaller rooms. So I can't quick math. I think that's around like 20 people that you can have total. And we've had the climbing forest, we have mini golf, but some of our other attractions I've thought like they spread you out just a little bit more. It's hard to do like every single person, 20 people doing one mini golf hole at a time, for example. So this is a really, really cool opportunity to like have like everyone in one place doing the same experience all at once. And I've mentioned before, you can do games in there. We've already done a few of our team building games before. We have like different ones with hula hoops, we already had ball throwing games, and like that's perfect. You just take them over to the Bounce Forest and now it's like you have the game but a different sensation, and it just gets a whole brand new experience out of it. It's great to do it with other people, and we just had like a summer program here with a bunch of kids, and they were having a big kick out of it doing it all together too. So that was just one group I could think of that did it recently, and I don't know, I'm very excited. I'm excited to see how we can expand in this. It's new for us too, so there's more places that we can learn, grow as well.
We're happy to be a part of it too, spreading the word as well, Luke, getting our audience and our community the word to let them know, come and take advantage, especially while the weather is pretty decent as well. We want to thank you so much for your time. Lastly, if anybody is interested in Tree Runner Park, West Bloomfield, Bounce Forest, or any other features that you all have, please tell them how they could do such.
Yeah, so our website is treerunnerparks.com. If you're looking for the West Bloomfield location, you just add treerunnerparks.com/West Bloomfield on the end of that. That's how you can find all of our information, whether it comes to like booking a ticket for the day or just looking about our courses or the Bounce Forest, anything at all. You can reach out to us there too, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But everything you need Tree Runner related, treerunnerparks.com.
Perfect. And thank you again for your time coming to tell us a little bit more about these very, very interesting features at Tree Runner Park, West Bloomfield. Once again, Assistant General Manager for Tree Runner Park, West Bloomfield, Luke Weller. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
That's our show. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always online on civiccentertv.com and across our social media. Big thank you to our entire team for their work today and to you for joining in. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft. Live, local, social, it's been The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.